Welcome everybody, and today we will be discussing about agricultural income. Hope you enjoyed the first lecture, first chapter in completeness. Now we will understand the nuances, the practicality of agricultural income. Now, whenever I ask you what is the first impression in your mind when I talk about an agricultural income? Yes, it is basically a farmer working in the farm, doing cultivation, producing some agricultural produce, selling it, and earning income. So, whatever the farmer earned, it is basically agricultural income. This is what all of us understand. Yes or no? Yes. But agricultural income has a more wider coverage, and that is defined in section 2 clause 1a. Agricultural income is defined in which clause? Section 2 clause 1a. Now what it tells? It tells agricultural income is an income which may be rent or revenue derived from land, or it may be an income derived from agricultural operations, or it may be an rent or revenue derived from a farmhouse or a dwelling house attached to or in the immediate vicinity of agricultural land. Now, the language may be little complicated for you. Let me tell you with stories. First thing, let us take up rent or revenue from land. Suppose example, I am there. I have 5 acres land. Now I am teaching, so I cannot actually go farming and all that I cannot handle. So what I did, I asked one of my friend in my village, will you be interested to do farming on my land? He said perfectly fine. He's a farmer. So he has to pay me some rent, and the rent which I receive from him for that agricultural land is agricultural income. Now the second question comes. I may say that okay, don't pay anything in cash. Give me 20 bags of jawar. What I asked him to give me 20 bags of jawar. So now he is giving me 20 bags of jawar every year. This is called as rent in kind. This is called as what? Rent in kind. So, if I give my agricultural land on rent to somebody, I may get rent in cash or in kind. Hope you understood, right? So, the income from agricultural land may be rental income. It may be cash, it may be in kind. Okay, very good. Second point which you have to understand, that it should be used for agricultural purpose. The land should be used for agricultural purpose. That's important. Okay. Now, you see the chart. Agricultural operations is the word written. Here comes the role of a farmer. In point number 2, 3, 4, all we are talking purely about farmer only. Okay. See, basically farmer will do cultivation. And you know cultivation means very simple thing, from seeding to getting the harvest. And even before seeding, he has to do a lot of activities like plucking, right? Then seeding, so many things, correct? So basically, cultivation is an activity which the farmer does. Then after doing all the plugging of land, sowing the seeds, when the harvest comes, like paddy has come. Now paddy should be processed. Some finishing has to be done to be converted into a saleable condition. Right? People don't buy paddy like that in raw form. Right? people want it to be finished in finished form, then people purchase. So that processing of agricultural produce to make it fit for market. And last thing, selling the same produce in the market. These three things form part of agricultural operations. What are the three? Cultivation, processing to make it fit for sale, and third one, actual sale. Right? Now, once these three are done, income from this is agricultural income. Sometimes what happens is we do a lot of marketing of agricultural produce. Let's assume in my village there are different farmers with around 100 acres of land. All are doing agriculture only. I went to all the farmers, sat with them, spoke with them. I asked how much you are earning, how much you are earning, how much you are earning. And after getting full clarity, I explained them a proposal. I asked them to do production of only organic products. I will list the products on the website. I will do digital marketing and I'll help you to sell the products. I'll earn something for digital marketing. Correct? So they are earning for sale of agricultural produce. I am earning for digital marketing. It may be for agricultural products, but the job is of a digital marketer. So the digital marketer's income or marketer's income is not an agricultural income. But the income from sale of agricultural produce is agricultural income. So this should be distinguished. Now let us go to the fifth point. See, fifth point says that if there is a farmhouse attached to the agricultural land. Now why this is required? Arey yaar, farmer is there, he will do lot of agricultural activity. He has to stay near to the farm. Suppose suddenly rain comes, he has to do some activity. Suddenly some thieves come to steal the agricultural produce. Yes, it happens. Sometimes suddenly there is an insect attack. Yes, it happens. So farmer has to be always active to protect the produce. So for that purpose, the farmer takes the land near to the agricultural land, or takes the farmhouse or takes the building on rent near to the agricultural land. In English, here the words used are in the immediate vicinity of agricultural land. Okay. So first thing which I wanted to tell, the agriculture, the farmhouse, the property, the building occupied must be in the immediate vicinity of agricultural land. It must be occupied by the cultivator, right? Or maybe receiver of rent. Third thing, it may be used as a storehouse to store agricultural produce, right? Or it may be used for dwelling, that means stay of the farmer, or it may be used as an outhouse. Last thing, if the house, the building is in rural area, it's perfectly fine. But if it is in urban area, then you should have paid property taxes for that building. So simple, any income from farmhouse will be treated as agricultural income. When if the agriculture, the rent of that property, the building is received because it is in immediate vicinity of agricultural land. The farmer, cultivator or receiver of rent occupies the building. Third thing, it is used as a dwelling house to stay for the farmer, or maybe as a house to store the agricultural produce. And the property, the building must be in rural area, or the property must be in urban area paying property taxes. If these four conditions are satisfied, then you should be able to understand that the income earned is agricultural income. Suppose example, if the land is not used for agricultural purpose, maybe it is used for playing cricket as a cricket ground, maybe for as a football ground, maybe used as an open land, giving it for some exhibitions, some marriage functions, then the land is not used for agricultural purpose. How can the building rent be considered agricultural income? Not possible, correct? So the land must be used for agricultural purpose to call the rent of building as agricultural income. One more thing I'll tell you. Suppose example, you are selling the entire land along with crop. Now, along with standing trees is the word used in the book. Now, if you are selling the entire building, sorry, entire land, it is a capital asset. And if you are transferring the capital asset, right? If you are transferring the capital asset, it is not an agricultural income. Okay. So if you are selling the agricultural land along with produce, it's not an agricultural income. Please remember that if suppose I have given my land on rent only to store the agricultural produce, is there any agricultural activity conducted? No. So if agricultural activity is not conducted, it is not agricultural income. Okay, very good. So agricultural activity is must. Basically, the activity and the output should have some connection. So if activity is agricultural, the output should also be agricultural. Let me give an example. Suppose example, I am sowing the seeds for producing mangoes. After few years, the trees become big and lot of mangoes come. I am selling the mangoes, earning income. What is this? The activity is sowing the seeds, taking care of the weeds, removing the weeds. Weeds means kalpu mokkalu in Telugu. जो unexpected plants are there, which actually take the nourishment of the original tree or plant which we want. Okay, such type of unwanted plants which actually destroy the whole crop, such plants should be removed. If you want mango, then only the mango crop should survive, no others. That's what I wanted to tell. So removing the weeds, all that are there. So from the process, the activity and the output should have some nexus. Process and output should have a nexus. Let me explain to you. Suppose mulberry leaves are there. Everybody know, correct? These mulberry leaves are produced so that silkworms can consume it. Silkworms will consume mulberry leaves and out of that they produce silk cocoons. Now, activity of producing mulberry leaves is an agricultural activity. But is the output agricultural? Not at all. The output is basically a non-agricultural thing. So, we cannot say this is agricultural income. Nexus is required. Now, when I said agricultural activity, when I use the word agricultural operation, you may think, sir, what is this? Is this defined somewhere in Income Tax Act? The answer is no. It is not defined in Income Tax Act. Then where it is defined? Supreme Court gave a judgment. In which case law? CIT. That means Commissioner of Income Tax. CIT means Commissioner of Income Tax versus Raja Benoy Kumar Sahas Roy. Come on, let me repeat. CIT versus Raja, Benoy, Kumar, Sahas, Roy. So I said I'll repeat. So you should also say, sir, I'll also repeat. And you should repeat with me. देखो, if you want to become pro in the subject, you cannot just be a passive listener. You have to be very active. You should repeat it loud and clear with me again and again so that you will remember. You want to be lazy and you want to score marks, it's impossible. You should be active on your toes, right? Listening, speaking, writing, reminding yourself about the concepts. All that are important to crack these exams, and there's a bright future for you ahead. Let's continue. What we discussed? We discussed that CIT, Commissioner of Income Tax versus Raja, Benoy Kumar, Sahas, Roy. In this case law, the Supreme Court laid down, Honorable Supreme Court laid down, right? Honorable Supreme Court said that there must be two different operations. There are two different operations. One is basic operations. Second one is subsequent operations. One is basic operations and second one is subsequent operation. Now, what is the meaning of these two terms? Hey, I said tilling of land, plugging of land, sowing the seeds, right? This is basic operations. So these are compulsory, must, right? After sowing of seeds, there may be watering, there may be something like removing the weeds, right? Then processing or little finishing the products to make it in a saleable condition. So these are all subsequent operations. Now, to call some income as agriculture income, Supreme Court said if basic operations are conducted, of course it is agricultural income. If basic and subsequent both are conducted, still it is an agriculture income. But if only subsequent operations are conducted, it's not an agricultural income. So come on, repeat with me. Basic operations only, agriculture income. Basic and subsequent operations both, agricultural income. If it is only subsequent operations, not an agricultural income. Now, देखो, assets, if you think about, come to page 3, agricultural income is there. But we have to see which asset. Is it an land in India? Is it a land or other assets? देखो, if other assets are there, it is not at all an agriculture income. Right? You may have a rocket, you may have an aeroplane. It's not, from that you cannot expect an agriculture income. Right? So to expect it, to call it as agriculture income, first thing is required. First thing, what is important? There must be a land. Right? Now the next question comes, if it is other assets, then what? If it is other assets, it's not an agricultural income. You cannot generate. But if suppose if it is an agricultural, if it is a land, then the question comes that is it a land situated in India or outside India? If it is outside India, it's not an agricultural income. If it is outside India, it's not an agricultural income. But if the land is in India, then we have to see is the land used for agriculture or not used for agriculture. If used for agriculture, then agriculture income. Right? If not used for agricultural purpose, it's not an agriculture income. So you cannot generate agriculture income from other assets. So no agriculture income in case of other assets. If it is land, then is it in India or outside India? If the land is outside India, we will not call it as agriculture income. Even though they produced apples, mangoes, they produced some vegetables, it may be. But as per income tax, it is not an agricultural income. But if something is there in India and they are producing agricultural produce, selling and earning, then yes, it is agricultural income. So we all remember basic operations, only agriculture income. Basic and subsequent both, then also agriculture income. But if it is only subsequent operations, post seeding activities, right? Then only subsequent operations, not an agricultural income. Now, let me take you to the examples. Hey, we understood so many things. Let's come to examples. What are the examples of agriculture income? Now, you are clear with fundamentals, correct? I fundamentally said to you that there must be a land, it must be used for agriculture, it must be situated in India. To call it as agricultural income under section 2 clause 1a. Till now this is clear. Now what are the examples? Sometimes some disputes may be there. To understand, they made the law that okay, these are examples of agricultural income. Like example, देखो, if it is a non-commercial crop, it is agriculture income. If it is commercial crop, not an agriculture income. This is wrong principle. Whether it is a trade or commercial crop, or whether it is a non-trade type of crop, very basic in operation, till it is agricultural income. If farming is done, right, produce is created, it is agriculture income. It don't identify it is commercial or non-commercial. Okay. So even though it is commercial, even though it may be used for trade, it is agriculture. Okay. Next, partners who are working in a firm and that firm is engaged in agricultural activity. So the partner's salary, partner's interest, partner's commission, partner's bonus from the firm is agricultural income. Hope you understood. So because, I'll tell you in simple language. Partner and partnership are one and the same. Jointly all the partners are called as firm. So whatever firm is earning, partner's income will be of same nature in the same proportion. Okay, write that. Now, I'll tell you flowers and creepers. You are actually planting a lot of flowers, creepers, right? And you are selling it, earning income. Of course, it is agriculture income. This way you should be able to understand. Now, agriculture income, so many examples I am going to give. Crop insurance is there. Like example, after Narendra Modi became Prime Minister, crop insurance, Kisan insurance, right? This is very important. Suppose example, your crop is destroyed by some hailstorm, right? Something. So in that case, definitely insurance company will pay you the crop money. This crop insurance is there, right? And the insurance compensation received by the farmer, it is agricultural income. So we discussed about crop insurance. We discussed about that suppose there are forests where you are planting the trees and once they grow, you are cutting the trees, right? And selling. Now you are putting manual efforts in the forest to create trees. This is called as agricultural income. So basically the forests are denuded forests and you are doing replantation and again sale, earn agricultural income. I'll ask you one more question. Suppose example, in pots we are selling some gifts we are giving in today's times. So if you are selling some pots, in that some plants are there, of course it is agriculture income, right? Similarly, any plants and trees are grown, nurtured in the nursery. From that, if you earn any income, right, the income of the nursery, sorry, not my income of the nursery is agricultural income. So I spoke about plants in pots, I spoke about nursery, I spoke about denuded forests which are replanted, I spoke about partner salary, interest, commission, bonus, right? I spoke about commercial crops like jute, cotton. I spoke about flowers, creepers. I spoke about Kisan insurance, crop insurance, right? That income is also agriculture income. So like that, I tried to give you lot of examples to understand what is agriculture income. Now, let's come to understand what is not an agriculture income. Suppose a director is there. He is getting some fees from the company to attend the meeting. Now let's assume the company's name is Godrej Farming. So they are completely into organic food production. Or let's assume that Patanjali Farms is there. They are also into lot of agricultural produce. But Patanjali Farming is earning something. Godrej Farming is earning something. It is agriculture income. But the director's fees, the director's remuneration is not agricultural income. Director's fees, director's remuneration is not agricultural income because director is actually giving his skill and earning income. Employee's salary in Godrej Farming, are he is doing morning to evening agricultural activity, correct? Till employee's salary is not an agricultural income because the salary comes out of an employment contract. So employee's salary is contractual income. So not an agricultural income. So employee's salary I discussed, director's fees I discussed, director's remuneration I discussed. Like spontaneously certain trees grow in the forest. You cut them and sell, earn income, not an agricultural income. Why? Arey sir, these are trees. I'll tell you, trees may be there, but they are spontaneously created. Manual effort, human effort is not involved. So it's not an agricultural income. Right? Then fisheries, poultry, dairy. Right? Fisheries is basically about fish, right? Different breeds of fishes. People, of course, do fishing, then bring the fish, kill it, and eat it, and they feel happy. Okay, so this fisheries is not agricultural income. Poultry, hence, in the poultry farm, not an agricultural income, right? And last thing I wanted to tell that dairy, right? Milk produce, paneer produced in dairy, it's not an agricultural income. In simple language, I'll tell, right? Is fish grown on a tree? No, right? Is eggs grown on trees? No, right? So that's why not an agricultural income. If I understand. Okay. Now let me tell you, if suppose a money lender is there, he gave money on rent, he gave money to a farmer and he is earning interest income. Who gave money? Money lender gave money. To whom? To a farmer for a loan purpose. Now the interest earned by money lender is not an agricultural income. Similarly, sometimes the farmer pays rent late. So if there is a delay in payment of rent, for that you are charging extra interest. Interest on arrears of rent. And if it is interest on arrears of rent, it is not an agricultural income. So director's fees, director's remuneration, right? Because there is a separate legal entity concept. Are you able to understand? Company is separate, individual separate. Okay? The director's fees, director's remuneration, I was talking about, correct? I spoke about spontaneously grown trees. You are cutting and selling, not an agriculture income. If salt production is there, not an agriculture income, right? If it is film shooting in a garden and the farmer is getting money because actors are allowed to do shooting there, the revenue received is not an agricultural income. We also discussed that if you are selling entire property along with the standing crops, it is not an agricultural income. If it is mining, right, you are doing mining and earning income. You don't want to produce some plants or trees, correct? You want to take out all the coal, all the gold, right? Or maybe even lithium ion batteries, for that some material, correct? So here mining is not an agricultural income. So mining is not agricultural income, fisheries, poultry, last one I said that dairy is not agriculture income, director's fees, director's remuneration, interest related points we discussed, correct? These are not agricultural income. Film shooting on the agricultural farm is not an agricultural income, right? The income earned out of it. If you are spontaneously created trees, you are selling and earning income, not an agriculture income we discussed, correct? Sale of land, agricultural land is not an agricultural income. So you should be able to understand so many things are there. A shareholder is there. He purchased the shares of Godrej Farming. Shareholder purchased the shares of Godrej Farming. And after purchasing the shares of Godrej Farming, he got some dividend. Now, Godrej Farming earns income through agricultural activity. But the shareholders' dividend is an income as a return on investment, correct? He invested some money into the business, he gets some return, right? So it is investment income for him. And that's why if it is investment income, it's not an agriculture income. If it is dividend income, not an agricultural income. If it is salt production related income on the seashore, not an agricultural income. This clarity you should have. Okay, chal. Let's go to the next part of the story and two more topics, and this lecture will be over. And in the next lecture, we'll do problems. Okay, two more concepts, just two more. Okay, listen carefully. These topics which I am going to discuss now have lot of numerical relevance also. That means now the next 1.5 page which I will teach, you have to solve problems on that basis. So listen to the concepts clearly. देखो, in the world, if you just produce agricultural, people are not ready to buy as it is. There are certain products which cannot be sold as it is also. So what people do is they convert it into finished product by doing some processing and then sell. Like I'll tell you, tea is there. Now you get tea leaves when you go into the agricultural farm of Assam. Only you get tea leaves. Now the tea leaves should be converted into tea powder. So here one is growing of leaves is there. Second one is manufacturing of tea powder is there. So if suppose both the incomes are involved, both the activities are involved, one is agriculture, and one is business, manufacture, then how much should be agricultural income and how much should be business income? Differentiation required. So, under Rule 8, for tea, they said 60% is agriculture and 40% is business income. So, under Rule 8, for growing and manufacturing tea, both should be there, growing and manufacturing. 60% agriculture income, 40% not agriculture income. Now, I'll tell you some case studies. Listen carefully. Suppose in the question, they gave growing tea only. They did not give manufacturing. So they just gave growing of tea leaves. 100% agricultural income. Okay, 100% agricultural income. This you should be able to understand. Right? Suppose example, some businessman is there. He has plant and machinery. So he purchased leaves from farmer and he is only doing manufacturing. Then only manufacturing income is not an agricultural income. Okay, so you should understand, if it is only manufacturing, 100% business income. If it is only growing, 100% agriculture income. But if it is growing and manufacturing of tea, then 60% agriculture, 40% business. Similarly, it is Rule 8, correct? Similarly, Rule 7a says that 65% is agricultural income in case of rubber and 35% is non-agricultural income in case of rubber. So 65% agricultural and 35% non-agricultural income as per Rule 7a. Now 7b subsection 1. We are talking about coffee. Coffee income, if you actually see the tables, give the details, then you will understand that okay, when it comes to coffee, if it is just roasted, grown and cured. Okay, when I am talking about coffee, you should remember, if it is only grown and cured, then 75% income is agricultural and 25% income is non-agricultural. Please keep it in mind. 75% is agricultural, 25% is non-agricultural. But suppose human intervention is much more. Like example, the coffee is not only grown, cured, roasted, right? If these activities are done, grown, cured, roasted, right, with mixing chicory, right, maybe not mixing chicory, then 60% of such coffee income is agriculture, 40% is business. Okay, very good. So we understood Rule 8. What is Rule 8 regarding tea? 60% agriculture, 40% business. Regarding coffee, it is Rule 7a. It tells, 7a rubber. It's 7a rubber, 7a rubber, 7a rubber. Okay, 7a talks about rubber. 65% income is agricultural and 35% is non-agricultural. Right. So for rubber under Rule 7a, 65% is agricultural and 35% is non-agricultural. What about coffee? Coffee grown and cured, 75% agricultural and 25% non-agricultural. Where it is mentioned? Rule 7b, sub-rule 1. But what about coffee grown, cured, roasted with mixing chicory, without mixing chicory, then they simply said 60% of such coffee income is agricultural and 40% is non-agricultural. 60% is agricultural, 40% is non-agricultural. And where it is mentioned? Under Rule 7D, subsection 1A. Right? So in a question, if they give 6 lakhs is the income by selling tea, which is grown in the farm and processed also. So if income is 6 lakhs, then remember that 60%, 3,60,000 is agriculture and remaining 2,40,000 is non-agricultural. Hey, why I am telling this? I am talking about coffee. No, I am talking about tea. I said business is 40, agriculture is 60. Okay. This is rule fixed in income tax. Right? So out of 6 lakhs, 3,60,000 becomes agriculture income and 2,40,000 becomes non-agricultural income. Right. Shall we go to the next part? Now we understood rule 8T, 60-40. We understood rule 7A, rubber, business 35, agriculture 65. Then 7B1, coffee grown cured, 75 agricultural, 25% non-agriculture. If it is coffee grown, cured, roasted, then 60% agricultural and non-agricultural is 40%. But sir, coffee, rubber, tea, you said, but what about other produce? I'll tell you, don't worry. For that, general guidelines are given. What are that guidelines? Guidelines simply tell that, let's assume that one entity is there, X Limited, doing processing of sugarcane. Now, in the farms, sugarcane is produced. Then that sugarcane is taken to the manufacturing plant. There it is processed and sugarcane juice is created and finally sugar is created. Now let me simply ask you a question. If one entity does all these things, then how much is agricultural, how much is business is difficult because all is within. So what we as a student should understand, that even though in the question it is single entity, you assume that there are two different persons. One is a farmer, one is a businessman. One is a farmer, one is a businessman. Even though in the question they tell one entity, you assume these two are there. Now, farmer will say that whatever produce I did, if I sell in the market, how much revenue I will get, sales I'll get. That is my revenue, correct? Suppose example, some agriculture produce is sold in market. Then the cash received is agricultural income. Plus some is given to the industry for processing and finishing. Now the market price of the goods agriculture produce is treated as the agriculture income for this part of the goods which are given to manufacturing unit. So once you take the market price of all the goods produced in agricultural farm, what next? The next thing is agriculture related expenses you have to deduct. That's it. You will get agricultural income. But what about business income? Of course, the sales of the business are business income minus sales of the business are revenue for business minus conversion costs are there. No? You have to convert agricultural produce into marketable, saleable produce. So for that, machine processing would have been involved. So how much it took to convert? I am asking again, how much it took to convert, how much expenditure is incurred to convert the raw material into finished product. That becomes the cost, right? And if suppose some goods are taken from the farm in the manufacturing unit, the market value of the goods taken will become cost. Simple? Difficult? I'll tell you simple language. Suppose example, farmer is there. He produced something. Now forget about businessman, forget about market. Farmer produced something, he'll sell to that businessman or he'll sell in open market. So whatever the fair price is his revenue minus agriculture expenditure is the cost. You get agriculture income. Similarly, business sales is his revenue minus the cost of conversion. That means converting agriculture produce to saleable produce. And second thing, that whatever fair market value of goods taken from the farm, that also becomes the cost. Deduct these two and you will get business income comfortably, no problem at all. Okay. Now let's go to the next topic. That is last topic of today's class. Here I am teaching fast type, correct? No problem. You are able to understand, right? If you don't understand, just go back, reverse it back, listen to the lecture again. If you don't still understand, what's up? I'm happy to answer your questions. Let's start. Hey, agricultural income is exempt under section 10, subsection 1. What I said? Agricultural income is exempt under section 10, subsection 1. Clear? That means there is no tax on agricultural income. That means there is no tax on agricultural income. Now why? Because income tax is charged by central government. But any income tax on agriculture could be charged by state only. Correct? Now in this case, income tax is charged by central government. Agriculture related law can be made by state. So there will be no income tax on agricultural income. It is exempt, right? No powers to tax. So under section 10, subsection 1, agricultural income is exempt. But from 1973 onwards, Indira Gandhi's time, she brought a process. She asked a simple question. Are you an individual? Are you a HUF? Are you able to understand these words? Person definition, 5 points. Okay. Are you an individual? Are you a Hindu undivided family? Are you association of persons? Are you body of individuals? Are you artificial juridical person? Any of the five. Individual, HUF, artificial juridical person. Right? Then we discussed about something called an individual, HUF. Right? Then we discussed about AOPBI. We discussed about artificial juridical person. All these persons, we have to compute the tax liability in this manner. But for that, his basic income, that means non-agriculture income, should be more than the basic exemption limit. So what is basic exemption limit? The maximum amount of income on which you are not supposed to pay tax. Maximum amount of income on which you are not supposed to pay tax. Like example, in the default tax regime under section 115 BAC, up to 3 lakhs, no tax. In the old regime, that is optional regime now, up to 2 lakh 50, no tax. If it is senior citizen, up to 3 lakhs, no tax. If it is super senior citizen, up to 5 lakhs, no tax. So this age-wise bifurcation of exemptions is in old regime. In new regime, 115 BAC regime, only one rule. More than 3 lakhs, extra taxable. Okay. So business income should be more than the basic exemption limit. And of course, the agricultural income should be more than 5,000 rupees. So remember, what should be the nature of SSC? Individual, HVF, AOPPY, AJP, correct? These are the entities. And the basic exemption limit income is 3 lakhs, suppose assume, in the default taxation. So more than 3 lakhs should be there. Right? Which income? Business income should be more than basic exemption limit. And agricultural income should be at least 5,000. More than 5,000. So if these three conditions are satisfied, then we have to follow three more steps to compute tax. What are the three steps? First step is very easy. You all know computation of tax liability, correct? So you have to simply add agriculture income plus non-agriculture income. On that, you have to calculate tax. But when you calculate the tax, you can add surcharge, but don't give rebate. Right? Surcharge can be added, but no rebate can be given. Okay? In step one. So step one, what I said, agriculture income plus business income together. On that, we have to calculate tax. Right? And when we calculate the tax, you can even add surcharge. We have to actually add surcharge if required. Okay? But rebate cannot be given. Health and education cess cannot be added. Okay? Second step. Your agriculture income plus exempt income, the basic exemption limit. Both should be clubbed. Agriculture income plus basic exemption limit should be clubbed. And when you club on that, you have to calculate tax. What are the slab rates that you apply? And you will be able to get the answer. Once you do the step 2, you have to simply remove step 1 minus step 2. You have to calculate like this. Step 1 minus step 2. Step 1 minus step 2. If suppose your non-agricultural income, that is business income, less than specified limit, like in old regime it is 5 lakhs. In new regime it is 7 lakhs. So if this happens, you have to actually give rebate. So your business income is less than 5 lakhs, 7 lakhs, as the case may be. 5 lakhs in case of old and 7 lakhs in case of new regime. You have to actually give rebate if the income is less than that. And finally, add health and education cess. Finally, what you should add? Health and education cess. And if you add, your net tax liability comes. Hey, come on, I am repeating for all of you. Step 1, your agriculture plus non-agriculture. Both incomes should be clubbed. Calculate the tax, right? But no rebate, no cess. Step 2, take agriculture income plus basic exemption, total it and calculate tax. Right? How will you calculate? Without cess. Okay, without rebate. And in step 3, your step 1 minus step 2. Step 3, step 1 minus step 2 you have to do and you will get the tax. But suppose your income is non-agriculture income is less than basic exemption limit. You will get rebate in step 3. Right? And after that rebate, after that discount in tax, what you are supposed to do? After the discount in tax, after the debate, what you are supposed to do is you have to add health and education cess. And with this, your entire computation of tax liability, considering if agriculture income is there, what will happen? You understood. When we solve the problems, you will get full clarity, right? So I feel you all understood the basic chapter of agriculture and income. Very easy chapter, no need to worry about, right? And page number 5, page number 6 here are very important. Extra focus should be given to it. So with this, we'll end this lecture and we'll meet in the problems lecture, right? Sure, we'll do problems in the next video. Bye everybody.